So my name is Darren Bell. I am the head coach for the Ottawa Black Bears in the Major League Quadball League. Um, I am also the president for the Carleton Ravens Quidditch team in Quidditch Canada League. I've been the president for going on to my third year now, I believe, and I've been playing Quidditch for about 4 years. Going into my fifth year of playing Quidditch. Started just in my first year of university at Carleton University, and then just kind of took it from there. So this league is about playing quad ball. Quad ball is a full contact sport where you have where it's co-ed, girls and guys, and everybody plays the same sport. There are brooms, quote unquote brooms. Basically, it's a PVC pipe that you have, and you have it in between your legs, and you have to be on it at all times. So coming from a different sort of sporting background, like football and other sports where you're running and you're catching, it's a completely different learning curve because you have to run, catch, tackle, score goals, dunk on people, juke, all that type of stuff with this broom in between your legs or PVC pipe. And so when you're running and you're trying to do a whole bunch of other things, catching on the run because you want to catch with two hands, it makes it a lot harder. And so there's a big, huge learning curve there. And then there's also, it's a very chaotic sport in that there are multiple different positions. And they each have pretty much different roles. There's not only one ball that you see in like football or hockey or in soccer where there's one objective to get that ball inside the net. There's a bunch of other things as well. So there's actually 4 balls in Quidditch or in quad ball. And 3 of which are basically just dodgeballs. And so they're playing dodgeball. So there's 2 beaters per team, and they have to share in between those three bludgers. And basically they're playing dodgeball the entire game. And then you have the quaffle, which is the one ball that you're trying to score on the hoops. And so it makes it very chaotic because you have to, rather than just knowing where only one ball is, you have to know where all 4 are in order to do well and to do well in the sport. It started in Canada. I think it's coming around the 15-year mark now. It started in McGill. McGill was one of the first schools to start it here in Canada. And then it kind of went off to different schools as well, such as like Carleton, where I attend school, and then Ottawa and a bunch of other schools followed suit, and then it spread across Canada. But McGill was one of the first schools, or I believe the first school that had it here in Canada, and the sport was originally created in the United States, and that's when they had like the capes and like they just took broom, like actual physical like sweeping brooms, and they made rules with that, and then it just got adapted as time went on into a more physical and more professional sport. The name changed, so you'll see like you'll hear me exchange the name Quidditch and Quadball. Basically pretty much the same thing. It's a very recent sort of change. The reason for the name change from Quidditch to Quadball was because we wanted to stream on like ESPN, and we wanted to sign with different streaming platforms, but we couldn't because of the name and such, because there were rights to, it's the rights to the book and to the author, to herself. So there was that was a big part of wanting to switch the name into Quadball. And so now you can actually see the sport being streamed on ESPN 8, I believe was just signed just recently. So you can take a look there, or you can take a look on YouTube. Just look up MLQ and you'll be able to see some of the top players in the entire world play. I personally love to watch Quidditch a little bit more than other sports, just because there's so much going on at all times. There's rarely a lull moment when you're watching Quidditch because the play doesn't stop. It's much like basketball. When you score a point, it just keeps going. So there's not very much of a lull point. And even when the quaffle is being walked up by the quaffle carriers, you still have beater battles going on. So basically like a full-on dodgeball match. So there's always something going on in Quidditch. A few injuries that you can see happen in this sport. are actually concussions. So I'm actually, speaking of which, I just got a concussion from the last time that we played. So you get a lot of those, a lot of finger injuries. The brooms come into play. I've seen sometimes when you're tackling, the broom kind of gets like caught in your face, and you can get like scars like with your eyes and everything. Um, the worst injury the worst injury that I've seen or that I've heard of is that somebody got hit from behind. The broom came out in front and then basically pegged into the ground and was a post, and they landed on top of it right into their sternum and cracked like the middle part of their rib cage. And so there are injuries like that, but then of course you get the typical injuries that you get from contact sports or similar sports like this, where you get like torn Achilles, torn tendons, pulled muscles, that type of thing. I've torn the muscles in the back of my neck before. I've separated my shoulder a few times. I have a torn rotator cuff, because it is a contact sport. So a lot of, and like broken collarbones, that's something that also happens as well. There's a definite need for athletic therapists around the sport of Quidditch because of how many injuries there are, and to also prevent injuries as we move forward in the sport, because it is physical, and games, because it's physical, and then two, as you get into higher levels of Quidditch, usually you want to keep your top lines on, and so those top lines get a lot of playing minutes. And when we're playing down in the States, get very dehydrated and all that type of stuff, and injuries are prone to happen. And so as much injury prevention as we can, that's a whole other level to the sport that I think really needs to be attended to. From my own experience, Quidditch and Quadball, whatever it's called, wherever you play it, it's so open, and it's open for all varying levels of experience. If you have no experience in sports, that's okay. There's teams that will coach you up. If you have experience in sports, it's still challenging. The further that you go up into the MLQ international levels, you will constantly be challenged. There's plenty of opportunities that you can come and play, and it's such an interesting and unique sport. There's no sport that I've played like it. The thing that got me hooked was that I could run through somebody like a running back and then dunk on somebody else like in basketball. So I don't know if there's any other sport that you can do those moves right after the other in one play. And so I highly recommend it for everybody. There's something that you can love about Quidditch or Quadball, but yeah.